Okay, this is the mimer in the very beginning of Sefer Devarim, and it begins with a quote, which is from the Haftarah of that Parsha. Comes from Yishaya. Tziyam and Mishpat Tepada. Tziyam will be through justice will be redeemed, v'shaven return but tzedakah. Now the Parshas Eschanan, the pasuk reads, "V'hayo advarim ha'eleh asher anechim etzavcha hayom." These words which I command you today. And this is a reference to every day, because in every day we have to strive to make Torah kichadashim. But the question is, how do we do this? So we explain. The ultimate purpose of an neshama coming down here is that prior to Shesmei Bereshis, the malachim that were created in Ma'aseh Bereshis through the spirit of Hashem's mouth, the Ruach Piv, some say on Monday, some say on Thursday, that on Thursday when Hashem created the birds, the winged birds, that this is a reference to the malachim. But the neshamas that were drawn down from machshava, a more intense level, was even prior to creation. Like it says in the Gemara, quote, "Mi nimlach mishvasayim shel tzadikim," with whom would Hashem become king? This is in the Medrash. Through the neshamas of the tzaddikim, which suggests that not only the tzaddikim, but like we know, everybody is a tzaddik. This is a reference to the existence of neshamas even prior to and thus consulted in or considered in the creation story. And then they come down into this physical world. You read the Tzarech Aliyah. So to understand what is this Aliyah, since they were already Olu b'machshava, meaning how can the neshama be even closer to Hashem? So we explain that we say every day in the davening, neshama shenasata bi tahiri. The neshama you place within me is pure. And this is the beginning of davening. Even before we've said Asher Yotzer, we've acknowledged the functioning of our humanity. Like it says in the Gemara, that when a person awakens, he says, Alakai neshama. Now, we don't do it that way because we need to wash our hands and so forth, but this is the origin. Tahiri, it comes from the highest level of Tahara. And then we say, Ata barasu, you created us, that is the Bria Yesh Miyayin. Ata nafachtabi, you blew the breath of life within us, which is the investiture of the neshama within the body to give it life. V'ata meshama, and you will protect it, that our neshama shouldn't leave our body. This is a level called makif in the Orient Seif Baruch that surrounds us, the Mamalik Kolam, and not only that it surrounds from above, but in every aspect of us, it's filled within us, mamali, and it has slapshis from the Seviv above. That is the shmira that Hashem protects, that the neshama should not interrupt, providing us with life. Now, as long as the neshama is within us, moida ani. Every one of us can give thanks to Hashem. But then it has to be Baruch, has to be an even more profound level, even greater than Haidah. So what is Haidah? Like we say, Moidim Chacham L'Rameir, because they initially disputed. So how could there be a dispute against Hashem? Meaning we can be moided to another person because we might conceptually disagree with that person. But since we can't conceptually disagree with Hashem, what is the value of being moided? So we understand that we who dwell down here in the level of Bria Yesh Miyayim, where there's the heavens and the earth and the heavens of the heavens, that is, what we see is the Davar Hayesh, the physical, and what is above we consider to be Ayin. So we consider ourselves something and Hashem nothing, oddly. But by Hashem, of course, it's the exact reverse, because no object, no thing has any stature. Kula kamek alei mamash kshiv. No creation has any stature. So we are nothing and Hashem is the something. The lower something is, the less significant it is. And Hashem is the yesh. So we see the world as yesh, created from ayin. And Hashem is the yesh, and we are the ayin. So this is the meaning of moidim anachnu. We acknowledge it as that we are moida, that the emes is the way it is in Hashem's perspective. That every Jew has this quality. And concurrent with this, it's still like distant. I mean, it's conceptual. I still think I'm real, but I acknowledge conceptually that Hashem is truly real and I am not. It's not this way. It's not upgalake this way. It is not innate. It's an amunah. It's a concept that surrounds me. And that's how we have the classic example of the thief prior to breaking into the home still davens to Hashem because he believes in the power of Hashem, but not enough that it changes his behavior. What then is bracha? Bracha is gilui. Like it says, Hashem said to Yishmael Kohen Gadol, B'ni Barcheni, and Baruch Atah, Baruch Hashem, and Olam V'Olam, that we draw out from that which is hidden to that which is revealed. And this is through, quote, that through the mitzvahs of Torah, we draw down this revelation and we recognize that Hashem is truly the creator. That has to, and thus consequently, we love Hashem, that through this, in the Shemona Esrei, Brachas, we have all of this characteristic of drawing down of the infinity of Hashem. And now we understand the difference between Hoidah and Bracha and the level of Av. We're now on Amud Beis, in Ois Beis. Now, in order for us to come to this level of love, it's through the contemplation of Shema Yisrael and Baruch Shem Kavod Malchusay. What does this mean? That Bria is Yesh Miyayin. This means that Baruch Shem Kavod Malchusay Li'olam Void. That is the level of Malchusay, that he is called a Melech. It's not a level of Atzmis, but is that which gives existence to the world. Memshaltacha, his dominion, is less personal than the level of Malchus, like the concept of an authority who is compulsory, not because of his kindness and love. It's just a very dictatorial character. It's a chitzonius. And in every generation, there's going to be the non-compliant, like in the generation of the Mabul, who are not going to willingly accept Malchusay. It's not going to be Baratzay, but they still are going to be conducted by the Memshala, by the authority of Hashem. Now, the loftier worlds, which is the closer level compared to this physical world, that we say it's better to be judged and still in this world and have Gan Eden. There's higher levels. They're all created from the Malchus, the willful aspect of Hashem. And that's why it's called Yesh Mi'ayin, because the creation of these existences come from a level of Ayin and Ephes that is only a mere glimmer of radiance from Hashem. And this is that quality of the Malchus of the Eibishter. And this is not embedded within the individual personally. It's not mislabeshes b'tochi yusam. It's just there in a sort of conceptual idea from above, in makif, like a king whose name is called over the people. It's sort of a cultural characteristic, not personally embedded within them. But this is only through the process of ishtalshus and the creation of the higher worlds. But down here in this world, through tshuva ma'asim tovim, you can draw out atzmis ein soif mamish, and that's the distinctive characteristic of neshamas coming into this world. And even more so in the olam haba, you can only go up in level. You have kafakela, gehenim, ganinatachta, nahardin, all of these different levels where the person is adjudicated according to their quality in mamalik. But here in this physical world, a person can go from extreme to extreme in a moment, like the halacha that illustrates this, that the person who marries the woman on manas, that he's a tzaddik gomer, even if he's known to be a rasha gomer, he can have that instantaneous transformation, that her tshuva, that's not available to him in the world to come. For this reason, we say that it's better one moment of tshuva and ma'asim tovim in this world than all the world to come. And this is what it means that we serve Hashem miroiv kol, that is higher even than olam haba, which is only called kol. We have roiv kol because of our opportunity for uncapped growth here in this physical world. And that's why you have yahafta b'chol nafshecha with the mesiras nefesh and not just the mesiras haguf. The tachlis is to draw down the Orein Soif of Soiviv Lamata through Torah and mitzvahs, and this is what it means. Who is Anoichi, my very essence? Mitzavcha, I command. That's the lashon of iskashros, and not just all of Shenkva and Mechusa Yisborech. And when is it? It is Hayoim, and not in the future, in the time of Olam Haba, where you can only receive reward. And if we think about this, so B'chol Yom, it will be brand new mamish, since Hayoim is referenced to Olam Hazeh. Or we can draw down from Atzim Sumahus, which is not possible in Olam Haba, and therefore the mitzvahs are called the 248 limbs, the 248 Hamshachas Achayis from the Ratzon Elyon, like the mashal of a specific limb that is connected through the entire nervous system all the way to the brain, that it embeds within it a Ratzon to be drawn as it is dictated by the brain. And this is what it means via hafta, that it should be Ashbaya Lekecha, revelation of Elikus, within both chambers of the heart, the left side, which is bitterness, because he is annoyed at having to be in this physical world, and the right side, which is the celebration of being able to do mitzvahs. Like it says, Yismach Yisrael ba'osav, these are the mitzvahs that are invested within behavior. And more that we will be embittered about being detached from godliness, that much more so will be a simcha from the revelation of godliness through mitzvahs. And even though there is no revelation at this moment, it's only going to be in the future time. Like we say, we plant righteously and we blossom rescue. Had Hashem through these V'yesha Hashem, Hashem turned to him, which is a reference to the 375 pathways, that just like a person has a box filled with precious stones, that is very happy, even though he doesn't see them at this moment because they're locked in the box, but he knows that they're there. But this is how it has to be. But this is when things are as they have to be. If they're not, instead a person becomes embittered about material things, that he doesn't have what he wants, even in the areas of children, life, and parnasa, and his simcha is only from the simcha of material things, then his neshama is in galus within the animal soul, like the sheep before its shearer. And how is that going to be rescued? So this is what the pasuk means when it says siyam and mishpat tepada. What is siyan? Is the term for siman, a sign. We are the sign. That is the pnimius halev, the natural love. This love that is embedded within every Jew, even if it is exiled. And it will be redeemed. It will be released through mishpat. Mishpat is halacha, like we say in the pasuk. Mishpat arishain is the original halacha. Mishpat reference to halacha. That is like it's recorded in the Gemara, that ein hagolis maskanses el b'schus hamishnayis, that the golis and the exiles will be gathered because of the virtue of study of Mishnah, as is referenced in the pasuk that says they will grant it amongst the nations, that Hashem's light, Hashem's Torah will be its light. And then it says v'shaveh, will return. What will we return? The two chambers of the heart, which are trapped. That is, if a person's bitterness is because of material failings, instead of on spiritual shortcomings, it will be transformed, and he will no longer be concerned with his material shortcomings, but he will still be appropriately concerned for his spiritual shortcomings. And his celebrations will be for that which is appropriate to celebrate, for mitzvahs, that he, instead of for his indulgences in this physical world. So right now, if he is embittered about his material deficiencies and he is celebratory only of his material abundance, so his heart is in captivity in material things, which is not the case when it will have this level of tzion, which is a reference to the very essence of his neshama, where there can't be any counter to that in l'umazah. So these captives will be redeemed. How? Via tzedakah. What is tzedakah? Is compassion on the poor. And if we will have compassion, so then Hashem will have compassion. Like we say, Rachem aleinu v'sein b'libeinu bina. Hashem, please have compassion upon us and grant us bina in our heart. Now, this is the level of tzion where it says that Hashem will direct his bracha. And that is the level of bracha that we said before, the revelation of the depth of our heart that is higher even than love. And this is that level of tzion. As we explained earlier, the explanation of the term Baruch that has two levels, and this is the idea of Baruch and the union of bracha. Now, Torah comes from Chachma, which is the level of Baruch. Therefore, Tzion, which is the level of bracha, but Mishpat Tipada, that is through the halachas of Torah. And we can explain what it says regarding Yosef, equal Fanecha Avrech. They called him Avrech, this young man, which is also from the phrase of bracha. And bracha, like we explained in other source materials, which the Alter Rebbe quotes here as well. Now, the Alter Rebbe starts a new mimer, just a short in Omid Gimel. It says, Barabais in Parshas Ekev, this is from the Medrash, Davar Achev Hashamer Lecha, that Avram gave his children to Arisim. Like it says, I know that they will guard the way of Hashem. This is Hashem's description of Avram, that they will do tzedakah, righteousness, and mishpat. That Hashem also gave us these two characteristics of chesed and rachamim. That the Jewish people came and they tied them together, like we said, tzion b'mishpat tepada and shaveh b'tzedakah. So Abraham was known that he would teach his children the ways of Hashem to do tzedakah and mishpat, and we will be redeemed through these two levels of mishpat and tzedakah. And Hashem will do his, that he will grant us chesed and rachamim. The idea being, based on what we said before, that Shabchi Yerushalayim es Hashem, Yerushalayim will praise Havaya, Hallelujah, Lekayich Tzion, and Elekayich through Tzion. That seems odd that Tzion which is a reference to the sort of whole essence of Yerushalayim. Why by Yerushalayim does it say Havayim? By Tzion it says Elikim. The point is, like we say, Yismach Yisrael ba'Esav. B'nei Tzion yagilu b'malkam. Celebrate Israel in your deeds. The children of Zion will rejoice in your king. And as is explained later in the Maimer that begins, my soul will rejoice in Eliki. That is the level of Gila, like we says, Gilu Barada, they will celebrate with this great celebration. There's a loftier level even than Simcha, because it is the combination of love and reverence. Because of the revelation of Hanera Kel Elyon, the glorious God above. And Gila is also a Simcha that comes from the depth of the heart, from the hidden world. And it is comparable to the Luchas Acharenis, the second set of Luchas, which were given in a less ceremonious manner. Now, as it is drawn down from V'hanera Kel Elyon, the level of Panemius, until it is manifest in Gilu Birada, the celebration through the Gevura and Tzimtzum. That this is what it means, Tagil Nafshi Eliki, celebrate my soul in God, which is the name of Elikim, the level of Tzimtzum and Gevura. The level of Elikim is like it says, V'hayavai lil Elikim, hallelujah l'kayach tziyah. And in order to draw this down, this is through, we're now in Amadalid Mishpat. That is, that there should be a total bittul of our own ratzon, and that we should compress ourselves to be sanctified even for the things that are permitted for us. And this is the level of mishpat, that a person makes a cheshbon hanefesh about himself, that he should not be pursuant of anything extraneous in the material world. Like we say that tzaddikim are judged by the Yetzer Tov, that is, through their engagement of Torah, which is called mishpat. And this is what it means, Tzion b'mishpat tipada, that in order for there to be this rejoicing of the children of Tzion and this celebration, this is through the level of mishpat, the engagement in Torah, because of ein chacham ein yira, and also because mishpat lalakim, that there should be alahali alakayach Tzion, the celebration of our God of Tzion. This is the idea of Tzion and mishpat dafka tipada, like it says, mishpat harisha, like that first judgment. And as Onkelos explains, this is like that earliest judgment. That is, that the mishpat is anything that is set up properly, as it's supposed to be, orderly. And this is how it is with the worlds, that they are in their proper way prior to the Cheretz Hadas, like it says in Yirmiyah. Va'armein al mishpat yeshev, it is there settled in its proper place, and thus v'shaveh b'tzedakah, will be redeemed through tzedakah, the captives. This is general idea of mitzvahs, which are called tzedakah, like we say. So tzedakah ti'alanu ki nishmar is a judgment, is a righteousness, and also from the level of mishpat there will be oisei tzedakah. This is what it means when it says in the Sefer Shmuel that David will do mishpat and tzedakah, that through this he will draw down sois asis, a celebration in Havai, Yismach Yisrael ba'Esav. And this is the idea that Hashem has offered us these two gifts, the level of Rachamim, Rachamecha Hashem, that is the revelation of the Yud Gimel Midas HaRachamim, that are revealed on Yom Kippur, and this is drawn down through the mishpat that a person makes on himself, the cheshbon hanefesh. Therefore, we say in Yom Kippur, Vanisim es nafshes seichin, you should deprive your soul. And through Torah, which is called Mishpat, we draw down the 13 characteristics of compassion. But this is that level of Chesed, which is even more profound than Rachamim, because Rachamim is still subject to a level of Rachamim Gedolim, the 13 characteristics. What then is there for Chesed? What's left, so to speak? But the idea is, like we said earlier, that Tziyah Mishpat Tipada, we will come and we will be judged, says Hashem, if you will be as sinful as crimson, I will make you as white as snow. You will be, your wool will be whitened. And what is the idea as white as snow? This is the idea of the strip of crimson that became white on Yom Kippur through drawing down the Yud Gimel Midas HaRachamim, regarding which it says, "V'atik yoyimim yasev lubashet ketelik chivar." Like in ancient days, you will sit and your garments will be as white. But the level of this whiteness is a lofty level, like it says. Their hair was as white and clean, that is the hair on the head, which is the level of atzmis, and is even higher than garments. And this is the idea of chesed, that is even higher than Yud Gimel Midas HaRachamim. Like it says in the Eitz Chaim, that the level of the hair in the head is comparable to the drawing down of the Chesed Elyon from Ein Sof Mamish, that there is no mixture of din at all, which is not the case in the whiteness, that there's still a mixture of din with it, because in Yom Kippur it is called the day of din and just judgments. And also, like it says in the Indian of Rachamim, that whoever doesn't have any das, it's prohibited to have Rachmanis on them. That is, there's still a level of judgment. Some people, we don't even have Rachmanis on them, because having Rachmanis on them is not helping them. But Chesed is Bein Lani and Bein Lashir, and regardless, there is no adjudication of the level of to whom Chesed is applied. And the primary revelation of this Chesed is on Sukkot after the Aseret made Tshuva. That it says, he makes it as white like wool. That is the level of shelik, snow. That is the level of the garment, like wool, should be drawn down to the loftiest of levels. These two ideas of mishpat and tzedakah, because the Aseret Tshuva is Hamelech HaMishpat, and Sukkot is the level of tzedakah. So tziyam a mishpat tepadu, we could add, is based on what we said in the earlier mimer, is like it says regarding Yitzchak, that in the future we will point to him specifically and say, you are our forefather. And this that we explained, that he makes it like snow, and it has the intensity of this whiteness, and as explained in other places, the linen garments of the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur, as like we said, v'shaveh b'tzedakah.